Welcome to Tales from Other Realms, where the veil between this world and the next is thinner than we think. I want to begin this series by taking you to a place where it all began for me, a place that changed how I saw the world and what I believed was real. I was raised in a family that prized logic and science. The unseen belonged in fiction, and anything that couldn't be measured or replicated just wasn't considered real. Believing in ghosts wasn't something we did. But on Yamparika Street, belief didn't feel optional. It all starts in a small town in Texas, a quiet, dusty town with more memories than people, a place called Vernon. The house we lived in was built in 1937. It stood through the chaos of World War II. It lived through wartime radio broadcasts echoing through its halls and had already survived the swirling grit of the Dust Bowl, oil booms, and tornadoes long before we ever arrived. Its windows had watched generations pass. This house had memory, the kind that lingers in floorboards and hides behind peeling wallpaper, the kind that doesn't forget. Directly across from our house was Allingham Park, a green patch of solemn history where statues remember the dead, and the oaks seem to observe you with ancient eyes. Children played there in daylight, but in the cool shade of the trees, something about it felt heavier. Shadows didn't just fall, they settled. The stone soldier who stood there, locked in eternal charge, didn't just honor the dead. He seemed to be watching the living. And then there was the statue of a woman, pale and tall, with an urn resting against her hip. Some said she represented justice. But to me, even as a child, she looked more like grief. When the moonlight hit her face, just right through the tangle of oak branches, it looked as though she were silently weeping. Across the street from those mournful figures stood our house. My parents were drawn to its charm, its crown molding, its tall windows. It had been sitting vacant for years, and they saw it as an opportunity, a chance to restore something beautiful. But when we stepped inside for the first time, it didn't feel empty. There were still shoes by the door, the cabinets were full, as if an entire family had stepped out in a hurry and never came back. My mother called it a home full of potential. I called it a place that watched you when you weren't looking. Whispers trailed us around town, but it wasn't until my mother wandered into Red River Museum that the history revealed itself. Hanging on the wall was a framed black and white photograph of our house. An older woman beside my mother noticed her lingering and leaned in, whispering as if sharing folklore. "That house you're looking at, it's known to be haunted. There was a terrible fire. The woman who lived there, she didn't make it out alive. People still see her to this day, walking the balcony." My mother froze. "You don't say?" The woman nodded solemnly. Yes, and that's not the only tragedy. Years later, a teenage boy was found dead in the upstairs closet, asphyxiated. His family never recovered." She pointed to the photograph. "That part right there, it was rebuilt after the fire." My mother managed a smile and said, "Thank you for the history. My husband and I just bought that house. We've only just moved in." The woman's expression changed in an instant, shock, then fear. "You moved into that house?" she gasped. What she didn't know was that my bedroom, the one I was already sleeping in, was the very room where the teenage boy had died, and the room next to it, where the woman had perished in flames, was just on the other side of my closet wall. Unbeknownst to me, my parents had sealed off the connecting doorway that was in the closet before I moved into my room. But some doors don't stay closed. Consciously, I never knew there had been a door in my closet connecting my room to where the woman had died. But then I began to see it in my dreams. In my dreams, I'd walk into my closet and find a passage through to the game room, but it looked different, like from another time and space. However, when I was awake, I never dared step foot inside. The air in the closet felt different there, thicker, like something was lurking inside, waiting eagerly for me to be alone, so it could swallow me up. My uncle, just a teenager then, lived with us for a short time. One day while playing hide and seek, he thought my closet was a perfect place to hide. Only the door wouldn't open when he wanted out. He pounded on the door with his fists and screamed, but no one heard him. There were so many layers of old paint on the door and around the door frame, it created a tight seal, cutting off air to the closet, and he began to fade. Drowsiness took over him, and then sensations of suffocation, until he passed out. My mother opened the door with ease and found him just in time, unconscious, but alive. She asked him, "Why were you sleeping in there?" He replied, shaking, "I got locked in. I yelled. No one came." She blinked, confused. "But the door doesn't even have a lock." The first time I saw them, I was around 3 to 4 years old. I didn't know they weren't alive, and I didn't know to call them ghosts. I just knew there were people in my room, and I didn't want them there. I'd see them by the window, talking amongst themselves. So I'd go downstairs to my mother to ask her who they were and when they'd be leaving. "Go back to your room," she'd say gently. "There's nobody there." But when I did, they were still there. And I wondered to myself, why does she always pretend they're not there? Does she think I don't know any better? The thought made me angry. But then it dawned on me. Maybe that was it. Maybe I was supposed to ignore them, pretend they weren't there. I found it odd that they were often looking out of my second-story window down towards the ground level. There was nothing there but a horrible well, as old as the house. It made me wonder why they were so interested in it. After all, I couldn't bring myself to go anywhere near it. I wondered what might be lurking at the bottom of it. I wondered if anyone had fallen down to the bottom of that well. I wondered if anyone had been pushed into the well. All I knew for certain was that it felt like death to me, and that I should never ever get close enough to peek down inside it, no matter how brave or curious I became. In time, I stopped asking my mother about the people in my room and just started to ignore them. But the woman whose room I shared a wall with, I couldn't ignore or avoid her, no matter how much I wanted to. She resided in our guest room, which was also our game room. That woman was terrifying to me. I felt her hate before I ever saw her face. To get to my room, I'd have to sneak past her door, hoping not to be seen by her. I'd stand with my back tight up against the wall, trying to keep a minimal profile, while quietly shimmying towards my room. But more often than not, she'd start to slowly creak open her door, and then slam it just as I passed. One day I decided I'd had enough. I gathered all the courage my little body could hold, and I walked right up to the room. I swallowed my fear and opened up the door. I scanned the room for her, but she wasn't there. I took another 2 steps in when suddenly the door slammed behind me. I spun around and reached for the doorknob. It came off in my hand. I screamed. My brother, thankfully nearby, heard my screams and came running to open the door from the other side. Years later, I learned others in my family had also seen and heard strange things throughout the home. My grandmother once stayed in that room, the game room, and during the night, she awoke to find that woman standing beside the bed, just staring at her while she slept. My grandmother never slept another night in that house. Other family members also heard footsteps, saw shadows, felt watched. One night, when our parents were out for the evening, our babysitter got spooked by shadows and the sound of footsteps on the stairs. She suspected an intruder had gotten into the house, so she called the police and quickly ushered me and my brothers outside to stand under the black sky. From the front yard, shadows could be seen through the window on the master bedroom's wall. But when the police arrived and did a walkthrough, they found nothing. My father often worked the night shift at the local hospital. There were some nights when my mother thought my father had come home early because she'd hear footsteps coming up the stairs. Her bedroom door would creak open, and the mattress would shift as if someone had sat on the bed next to her. And there were nights when she felt someone crawl into the bed beside her and scoot up next to her body. She'd turn expecting to see my father, only to find she was alone. Even after we left, the stories didn't end. An aunt of mine intended on staying in the home for a few nights, but then she too heard footsteps. She even reported that the television, which sat on a unit with wheels, rolled back and forth so violently it yanked its own cord from the wall. She almost convinced herself it was an earthquake until she saw a big, dark, shadowy figure moving towards her. She immediately fled with her children. And again, the house sat empty and waited. Years passed. Then one day, my brother spoke with an old childhood friend from Vernon. The old house came up. Once again, tragedy had returned to a family who had moved in. A father and a son had met their untimely deaths. The house on Yamparika Street was abandoned once more. Dishes still on the counter, shoes by the door, clothes in the washer, as if a whole family had left in a hurry and never planned to return. I still remember the day it was my family leaving the house on Yamparika Street, never planning on returning. As we pulled away, looking out from the car window, I almost expected to see a figure in the upstairs window, waving goodbye. Thank you for watching. If you're a Halloween lover and enjoy true ghost stories, be sure to subscribe for future episodes of Tales from Other Realms, where the veil between worlds is thinner than we think. And if you'd like to keep the spooky spirit alive longer, check out my Halloween books on Amazon, Frights in the Dead of Night, and The Ghost Who Longed for Halloween, written by Caroline Lawrence. And until next time, keep the lights on. Thank you.